Good morning. From the previous lesson, we already discussed the difference between the trends and the fads and the different characteristics for a happening or for an item for a phenomenon to become a trend, to be considered as a trend. Now, we will discuss about an important some of the important thinking facilities that we need to understand. These are the thinking skills that we have to develop in order for us to become good trend spotters. So the first one, it's called strategic analysis, and it will be followed by the common sense, and the last one, it's the intuitive thinking. So, along this video for today, we will discuss all of those and we will try to differentiate the different thinking facilities. As indicated right now in your screen, you have here strategic analysis. It says there it involves the individual's capacity for thinking conceptually, imaginatively, systematically, and opportunistically with regards to the attainment of success in the future. So in this particular thinking facility, it involves there are four identified skills that we have to develop. The first one, it's to think conceptually. Now, when we say thinking conceptually, uh, it's our capacity to arrange different concepts. Aside from arranging different concepts, it's our skills to organize these concepts and use this concept, arrange concept in order to make the decision. No? For example, sa araw-araw nating buhay, when we wake up in the morning, we have this routine that we do in our house before going to school. And in doing those routine, we already have the concept like you have to wake up, then you have to eat breakfast, then you have to take a bath. Okay, those are three concepts that you have to separate from each other and arrange it meaningfully in order to make a decision. So another thinking skill that we have to develop is what we call thinking imaginatively. When we say thinking imaginatively, there should be visualization in our thinking. You cannot imagine without visualizing yourself in a particular situation. So when we say you think imaginatively, you are picturing out yourself doing something, or being somewhere, or doing what you want to do. So when you apply it in making a decision, you are picturing yourself with the consequences that you may get deciding deciding in that particular situation. So that's two separate concepts. The first one is thinking conceptually, and then the second one is thinking imaginatively. So the third one, it's called thinking systematically. When we say thinking systematically, we have to remember the key term process or procedure. There's a system. Okay, there's a step one, step two. Okay, it's different from the first two thinking skills because when you are thinking systematically, you are being aware of the procedures that has to be done to succeed in that particular situation. And lastly, there you have thinking opportunistically. That's maximizing all the opportunities. And in making decision, that's the capacity to weigh things and come up with the best decision, best option that you have in your particular situation. So all of those thinking skills is part of what we call strategic analysis. Okay, Can you say that you are using strategic analysis when you are using just one of the four? The answer is yes. Okay? Any of the four, combination of the four, okay, you can say that you are using strategic analysis. Now, para mas madali natin maintindihan, no, when we say strategic analysis, just think of yourself thinking deeply yung pinapag-isipan mo. And sometimes, strategic analysis, it involves a lot of time. For example, in making a decision on what course you will you take in college. And syempre in deciding to that particular situation, you have to weigh things up. No? Sometimes nagso-SWOT analysis pa nga tayo ng mga strengths, weakness, itong decision na gagawin ko na ito. Yung SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. This is one example of what we call strategic analysis. So when we think deeply and we think it through, ano, it involves time, matagal at may proseso. You think conceptually, imaginatively, systematically, opportunistically. We can say that we are thinking or we are using the thinking facility that we call strategic analysis. Now, syempre, hindi naman everyday nag-iisip tayo ng malalim. Okay? We're not thinking deeply. And there are things where we use other thinking facilities like what's presented in your screen na common sense. Ano? Kasi merong mga bagay na kailangan mabilis yung pag-decision, decide natin. Mabilis yung response natin dun sa mga sitwasyon. So, dito papasok yung tinatawag natin common sense. Well, as indicated in your screen, common sense is a sound practical judgment concerning everyday matters or a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge that is shared by nearly all people or common to nearly all people. So, with this definition, we can say na common things that we encounter every day, yung mga decisions natin na hindi na tayo nagtatagal sa pagde-decide, ano, parang automatic na sa atin. Yun yung tinatawag nating common sense. But then, the issue here, when we say common sense, it is indicated that it is an understanding shared by nearly all people. So it means a group of people that we are included with. So let's say it's the community that we are in. The question is common sense universal? Does it vary from one culture to another culture? Well, the answer to that question is basically a yes. Why? Because you just imagine you have this particular tradition in one culture, and that is common for those people, and there's another tradition in another culture which is also common for their people. And if those traditions in two different cultures are conflicting to one another, okay, we can say that common sense varies. Kumbaga, sa culture na yun, culture one, common sense sa kanila yun na ganito ang gagawin. And another culture, culture two, separate, entirely different, and conflicting tradition compared to culture one, maaaring common din sa kanila yon. So we have this understanding that when we say common sense, it may vary from one culture to another. So this is another thinking facility that we have to use. We have to carefully consider in using this particular thinking facility in making our decisions. Now that we already have the two of the thinking facilities, the first one is strategic analysis, and the second one it's common sense. Now we go to another thinking facility, which is quite interesting. compared to the two. Okay, it is called intuitive thinking. Okay, as indicated in your screen, it says there, intuitive decision making is far more than using common sense because it involves additional sensors to perceive and get aware of the information from outside. Sometimes it is referred as gut feeling, sixth sense, instinct, inner voice, spiritual guide, etc. So this particular thinking facility, it is interesting in a way that it's hard to understand. No, well, we can say that science cannot clearly identify this particular thinking facility because it's in ourselves, probably inside our head. But then you cannot we cannot define it clearly where it coming from. So, for example, you call it instinct, or you call it an inner voice. If you tell someone that you have this inner voice telling you to do something, maybe they will say that there's something wrong with you. Okay? But then, all of us, no, lahat tayo na experience natin to, and meron tayong tinatawag na intuition. Okay? Now, intuition, you cannot explain it. It's like knowing something without any basis. But then, as you can see in the definition, it's far more than common sense. Mas mataas daw siya sa common sense in a way na you know something, okay? It's like a system in your brain, okay, that you know something uh, with uh, by considering other proof or other things to know that something. Okay, as indicated there, you use additional sensor in getting aware of that particular idea. So, sir, question: how do we know these things? No? Kaya nga ng sabi ko, our brain is so brilliant, ano, na we have this capacity na nakakapag-intuition tayo. Pakiramdam mo lang mangyayari itong bagay na to. Akala mo hula mo lang yun. Pero ang totoo, sa utak natin, gumamit tayo ng maraming information, a lot of information, we process it, and then we come up with an immediate response to that particular situation. So karaniwan, ginagamit natin to, no? Yung intuition, hindi talaga siya hula, pero sobrang galing ng brain natin, napaprocess natin na mabilis at nakakapag-decide din tayo na mabilis. Okay? For example, nararamdaman mo, sobrang init, pero parang pakiramdam mo uulan. Magdadala ka ng payong. Without us knowing, yung pakiramdam mo na yun, maybe at the back of your mind, meron kang mga experiences na ganong sitwasyon na gano'n din yung nangyari, na umulan din. So, intuition is not entirely predicting something. You use additional sensors para malaman mo yung something na yun. Okay? For example, the gut feeling. Explain the gut feeling. When we say gut feeling, what part of the body yung nagwo-work? Ba yung tiyan natin, gut. Pakiramdam natin kapag may intuition tayo, meron tayong masamang pakiramdam, ano, kung tawagin natin, parang kakaiba yung siya natin. Parang hindi mapakali yung siya natin. Okay? Another is the sixth sense. Sabi nating sixth sense, parang yung nakakakita ng mga kaluluwa, no? Pero this one, it's another sense. So parang may pang-iba tayong sense. Kaya sixth sense yung tawag nila. Hindi naman particularly sinasabi na sixth sense to dahil meron ka nakikita ng mga spirits. Ano? Kasi nga, we have five senses. Tapos ito nga, parang panglima siya sa mga senses mo. Okay? So this is the third one, intuitive thinking, and we also use this. And interestingly, others use this more often than the two thinking facilities. No? Now the question: you have the three. How should we use each thinking facility? So is one thinking facility more important than the other thinking facilities? Now the question to that is it depends. Okay, we have this different situations when we encounter we face decision making. Okay? every day, and we have this capacity to choose from these thinking facilities. Now, the ability to use these thinking facilities is the skill that we have to develop in order for us to trace or to spot a trend, ano? Kailangan alam natin gamitin 'to ng, efficiently, itong mga itong tatlo na 'to na, common sense, strategic analysis, saka intuition sa pagde-decide natin sa buhay natin para mas maging efficient yung buhay natin. And for our part, para ma-spot natin yung pwede mga mangyari, ano yung mga alternative futures na pwedeng mangyari dahil doon sa nakikita nating trend. And now, since we already know the three thinking facilities, I just want to add another. Okay, I've researched about this particular concept, and this concept is called heuristics. Now, heuristics, it's a mental shortcut that allows people to solve problems and make judgment quickly and efficiently. Okay, the rule of the thumb strategy shorten decision-making time and allow people to function without constantly stopping to think about their next course of action. So, unlike the three taking facilities that I have introduced to you, this particular concept is unique. Yung heuristic na tinatawag. When we say heuristic, para sa mas madaling salita, ito yung gagawin natin when you are faced in a decision-making situation. Gagawin natin yung ah, unang bagay na papasok sa isip natin. So with that particular uh, way of solving the problem or dealing with that particular decision-making situation, you shorten ano, the time and quickly nakakapag-judge tayo. Now, you can say that it is hilarious kasi syempre minsan it's an important decision making that you are facing right now. And then all of a sudden, I will tell you to do the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, with a particular scenario, we can say that this heuristic is so unique. It has a part of the common sense facility. It has the part of strategic analysis, and also it is partly uh, like the intuition or the intuitive thinking facility. Okay? Somehow, when you come to think of it, when we do heuristics, we do all of the three thinking facilities that I have discussed earlier. No? So, are there people using this particular thinking facility, this unique thinking facility? Yes, and nowadays, large companies like Google or Apple, you know, who are mainly based on strategic analysis in dealing with things, somehow they are catering this kind of thinking facility just to break the routinely way of solving problem, because dealing with this particular thinking facility is risky, but then somehow it shows our creativity and innovation in dealing with things. So this is the fourth one. We will just add this as the fourth thinking facility that we use in predicting the alternative futures or in spotting the trends na pwede mangyari sa atin. Assume students, if you are if you want to become a policeman, a firefighter, a teacher, okay? If you want to become a flight attendant, okay? A reporter, we have to develop this this ability to uh, to use this thinking facility reasonably, depending on a particular situation. So I just have introduced to you the four, apat na sila. And hopefully in the future, kapag ka-college na kayo or kapag ka nagtatrabaho na kayo, you can use these thinking facilities in solving problems. And that's it, ano, for today. And yun lang i-discuss natin. And hopefully, natulungan kayo, maalala natin to kasi may magagamit talaga natin to in the future. No? Not only in our subject where we predict the trends or we analyze kung ano yung mga pwedeng maging alternative futures, but also in real life. Ano kapag kailangan nyo na mag-decide para sa sarili nyo. Please uh, use these thinking facilities uh, at your own risk. Ano? So maging responsible tayo sa paggamit ng mga to. So that's it. And thank you for listening. And I hope you like the content. You can hit the like button and share it to your friends para in a way ma-inform din natin sila because sharing is caring. Okay? Thank you.